Good morning, everyone. Today, we'll be starting a new chapter. That is a chapter in history, nationalism in India. Now, you people are already aware of this word nationalism. That is feeling of a nation, feeling of oneness, feeling that we belong to the same nation, right? Feeling that we share the same history, right? And feeling that we share the same pain as well. So, nationalism term you have heard in your previous chapter. That was in the rise of nationalism in Europe. How the different European countries, right? They fought for nation states. How this feeling of nationalism had swept the entire Europe, right? And how different nation states were formed in Europe. Now, meanwhile, long before the nationalism started in India, nationalism was, this freedom for struggle, this freedom for independence was already going on in different parts of the world. And slowly, it has come to India as well. India, as you know, after the downfall of the Mughal emperor, right, and after the Marathas lost the war to the Britishers had finally established themselves as the supreme power in India, right? And India went into a 200 years period of colonization. We were under the slavery rule of the Britishers. The Britishers had colonized India, and slowly they were draining away all the resources of India. We, the Indians, right, we had no right on our motherland. It was the Britishers who were ruling us and even torturing us. So how this nationalism feeling, it developed in India, and slowly it has swept all these states of India. We'll be talking about we'll be talking about in this chapter. Also, if you remember, the first struggle for freedom, it has started back in 1857, but because of, there was no proper planning for it, right? There was no proper planning. There was, there was even lack of, you can say there was lack of unity as well. That is why this revolt, it could not succeed. The revolt was not a success because somewhere planning was not there, somewhere unity was not there. Back long after 1857, it was, with the coming of Mahatma Gandhi, when Mahatma Gandhi had come to India, right? The very first thing what Mahatma Gandhi did was he began uniting the people of India, because he believed until and unless people are not united, unless and until all the people together will not revolt, a change could not be brought. For bringing a change, a mass revolution is required, and for a mass revolution, unity is required. That is why this was, one of the major reasons why 1857 revolt was not a success was the lack of unity, lack of proper planning, right? Even after 1857, a lot of people have revolted against the injustice of the Britishers, but they were every time suppressed by the Britishers. But when Mahatma Gandhi had come to India, people had once again seen a hope in him, a hope for freedom, a hope that, a hope that yes, this is our motherland and we have the right over our motherland. Now, Indian nationalism developed as a concept during the Indian independence movement fought against the colonial British Raj. In this chapter, students will get to know the story from the 1920s, a study about the non-cooperation and civil disobedience movements. Students will also get to explore how Congress sought to develop the national movement, how different social groups participated in the movement, and how nationalism captured the imagination of people. Now, Mahatma Gandhi and the idea of Satyagraha. Mahatma Gandhi returned to India in January 1915. He had come from South Africa, where he had successfully fought the racist regime with a novel method of mass agitation, that is, mass revolution, which he called Satyagraha. The idea of Satyagraha emphasized the power of truth and the need to search for truth. It suggested that if the cause was true, if the struggle was against injustice, then physical force was not necessary to fight the oppressor. Right? The very first thing, the launching of Satyagraha, the very first thing when he had come to India, he has launched the Satyagraha movement. And what is this idea of Satyagraha? Satyagraha means the power of truth, right? Truth alone triumphs. That is what Satyagraha means. Without seeking vengeance or being oppressive, a Satyagrahi could win the battle through non-violence. Non-violence, he believed in non-violence, right? And he was a follower of non-violence. This could be done by appealing to the conscience of the oppressor. People, including the oppressors, have to be persuaded to see the truth. Means we have to, we'll have to make them realize. We'll have to, hit their conscience. Ki, come on, see the power of truth, right? And see the power of truth and see the power of non-violence, instead of being forced to accept the truth through the use of violence. By this struggle, truth was bound to ultimately triumph. Mahatma Gandhi believed that this dharma of non-violence could unite all Indians. And the very first thing, which the major participation which he did was in Champaran movement in Bihar. After arriving in India, Mahatma Gandhi successfully organized satyagraha movements in various places. And the first one was in 1916, and that was in Champaran, Bihar, to inspire the peasants to struggle against the oppressive plantation system. Now, class, before we begin with our next lecture, before we'll be studying about this Champaran movement in Bihar, you will first of all go through this Champaran movement, right? What peasants have gone through in Bihar and what problems were they facing and how Mahatma Gandhi has helped them overcome this problem. So you will be studying about Champaran movement in Bihar, right? And you will submit a short description for the same. In the next lecture, we'll be studying about Champaran movement. Thank you.